Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another IG Live. Fresh shit. What's good, everybody? Yeah, we're here. We're back. I know I've been gone for a little bit. That's all fine. That's all right. I've been booked and busy. Not really booked and busy, just more occupied. There's a lot of new things that are happening on my plate, so I am doing my best to be consistent and give y'all what y'all need. Uh, Also, a couple reminders. Gotta get those out there. So, a live Zoom show for the 4 years of this podcast is happening Saturday, September 5th, 2020. The year that seems like it's never gonna end. So please cop your tickets. Make sure to get your tickets. You can check all that in the profile of the podcast on IG. And you can get your tickets and all that stuff. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be dope. I am excited for all that. So please check that out. Also, shout outs to the affiliate partners for the show. We have three. We have Urban Impulse. So check out that site. You get 10% off of your order by using the code SIPOD10. Right. Also check out Aphrodite Candle Co. Shout outs to her. Shout outs to those dope candles. Please order yours and get it with the discount code. And then we have McSpace Burger Shop. McSpaceburger.shop, I should say. My friend Jade, they make incredible stuff. Dope shit. So please support them and their ventures by heading over to the Etsy site and using the promo code to get 10% off your order. So yes, you have some dope black businesses to support. Please do so. That would be it would behoove you to do that these days. Thank you so much. So let's talk about what's been going on lately. Uh, I've been kind of occupied with some things in my own sides. So I'm excited for new ventures that I'm working on. I'm excited for new opportunities. I'm excited to do the work. Long story short, don't want to give too much away. Oh, well, actually, I said it on the last podcast. But without giving away too much details, I'm currently working on starting a production company where I live here in New York City. So that's the gist I'm going to say. I don't want to get into too much details there, but the point is, I've been very occupied on getting those things together. So, outside the podcast, I got things going on. That's not a flex, that's just more of a FYI. So I'm going to still do my best to be consistent with the episodes and get stuff out there. So bear with me as I do so. Also, I just want to remind everybody that you could go back and listen to old episodes. And if you are interested if you're interested in not just being on an episode, but asking questions, please do so. This is why I'm here. You can ask questions to me and get some feedback. You know what I mean? I know everyone needs advice these days, and I think I'm pretty good at giving advice. So please send your questions to sophigpodcast@gmail.com, and I'll be here to answer whatever you need. All right. I put on the glasses because I need to see. Let's see what the timeline is talking about now. Oh, well, first and foremost, one of the things that came up. Do you know they have the nerve? So, Dancing with the Show. Dancing with the Stars. Right? Dancing with the Stars. They have the nerve to put fucking Carol Baskin. Remember Carol Baskin? The one from Tiger King? She's going to be on the new season. Now, I don't know who determined that she was a star, but somehow, some way, some producer said, hey, let's get that chick in here. Let her do some shit. Don't know why. Very dirty behavior. Very dirty. Don't know why she's even being given a platform considering the scandal of that whole situation, but here we are, right? Really, really dumb and really unfortunate. That's just something that was on the top of my mind. I don't really have any other crazy thoughts about it. I just think it's dumb. But let's go into a deeper topic. Always not fun to talk about these things. But the situation in Kenosha, right? With Jacob Blake and the other fucker that we don't talk about. Oh boy. oh boy, the whites are whiting again. They are whiting, and you know, at this point, I'm pretty sure most people have heard about that situation. But guess what? I actually was put on to another incident that happened that I didn't even know about. My coworker just put me onto this shit. Um, I didn't mean to do that. But the scenario here is that there was a situation that happened in Rochester where there was a gentleman named Daniel Prude, and he was detained by police, and he was somehow stripped naked, arrested, and he had a hood on put over his head, and the cops took his life. Daniel Prude, if you guys have not heard about that. Another fucked up example. And you know what? It kind of ties into what happened at my job recently. I'm just going to put it out there. So basically what happened was when Jacob Brooks happened, there was a scenario where we as a company, we decided to talk about that, and it wasn't handled properly, right? Our big boss decided that he wanted to have a conversation about it and loop people in, and we talked about it, and it just wasn't a great conversation. It was not met with the care that it needed for this type of scenario, and I feel like a lot of these companies who made this promise of Black Lives Matter back in June, I don't know how they're holding up with these type of conversations, but it's not good, not great. The fact that it's not being handled well, Jacob Blake being one of them, and other scenarios to come, it's not being handled well, and I just feel as if, where do we get reprieve? Where do we get reprieve? Where do we get a level of enough is enough? And even in these very white-facing corporations that have a very lack of diversity amongst its employees, why are we subjected to these scenarios where we have to express ourselves as black people, and then the white people are just, I don't know if it's just not being treated with the right level of care and concern. It's unfortunate. You know what I mean? So that's a constant struggle, but I'm doing my best to kind of hang in there. You know what I mean? Doing my best. I'm speaking out more, being more vocal, and these are the things that I have not been before. So I'm very happy that I get a voice, and that's something that can't be taken away. So we shall see as we continue to move forward. In other news, speaking of black people, I don't know if you all know of Matthew Cherry. Matthew Cherry is a creator who, I think it was last year, he created a short animated film called Hair Love. And as a result, people have been, it's been revered, it's gotten awards, all these things. But then what ended up happening is that recently he was called out for, well, he wasn't necessarily called out for anything, but a creator over at Nick Jr. was called out for creating a series that was very similar to Matthew's series, right? It stars an African American family, a black mom, a black father, a black little girl, and the optics of it are very similar. And everyone that has been looking at both of them, both of these series, was just like, wait a minute, something's not right here. Like, something looks very off. It's very odd. And, people were not really feeling the fact that this was happening. So, upon further investigation, the series that's going to be premiering on Nick Jr. is made by a white woman. And, yeah, the internets are not very too happy with this narrative. So, I come to you to say that if this is the case that this concept was stolen, at one point it's just like, all right, this series that Nickelodeon is coming up with is going to represent more black people, right? It's going to represent a level of of people that look like me and that look like others on TV, but the fact that the creator of it doesn't look like us, you know what I mean? And at this point, it's like, do you reprimand the art or the artist? That's the real question. Uh, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know whether to feel good as like, all right, we just have more shows like this, or is the perspective of the creator matter here in the scenario, right? Because with Matthew Sherry, he's a black man, and he is able to, I guess, in some instance, project or tell the story of a black family properly than a white woman, right? Like, we don't know this intention of this white woman and what she's about, so we don't know what she has in plan for the show. Now, the show on the outside looks really, really good. I mean, the optics of it, in the sense of representation, means well. But is it stolen? Is it a really stolen idea? Is this the case? We don't know. We don't know. Saw the trailer. It's cool. I mean, I'm pretty sure the little black girls and boys will appreciate it, but, in the sense of stealing for art, is it right? And then, funny enough, I also saw on Twitter, now, granted, this is all Twitter, so take it with a grain of salt, but someone else was saying that Matthew had been stealing concepts from black women for a while, because would it make sense that a black man was able to come up with a concept about a little girl's hair, so authentically or organically? And that I can't answer. There's allegedly receipts that he's been stealing concepts. I don't see it. I don't know about that. But yeah, this is what happens when you get on the internet. There's going to be a lot of chitter chatter amongst things. The whole point is, I personally think more representation of people of color, animated or otherwise, is a win. But for some that might feel like that's not the case, especially with the person behind it, that's where it gets a little tricky. Yeah. Just a little tricky. So, we shall see. Either way, if the kiddies are down to watch the shows, then they're down to watch the shows. Speaking of children, wow. I've been seeing that remote learning for some kids is going a little shaky. Granted, I don't have kids. Granted, I don't really know how it's going. But based off of what I've been feeling, remote learning has been quite challenging thus far. School's starting back up. And, my thoughts are that I don't know how these kids are going to deal in these next couple of months. Especially with, just the nature of how school is. Like, there are some kids that are being forced to go back to school, and the Rona is just in the hallways blowing the whistle like, all right, guys, gotta get to class. All right, hey, Timmy, do not run in the hallway. I will get you. You know what I mean? And it's just like, hey, girl, hey, what up? I'm here talking about myself, so join me. Or nah, it's up to you, your life. I'm talking about the children's going back to school and how that feels like a bad idea. Doesn't feel fun. Doesn't feel like the kids are enjoying themselves. Between the kids that have to go back to school and the kids that are doing remote learning, I think the whole school, just school should have been postponed. I don't think these kids are having a good time. They're not enjoying themselves at all. And I just feel like there should have been a better rollout to all this. But there wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Ronas are in the hallways. Pretty sure these kids aren't using a mask. If anything, they're probably chewing on it, flicking it up in the air, spitting it like a freaking pansy in a strip club. It's just doesn't feel like a safe time to be around people. You know what I mean? Doesn't feel safe. Oh, it's a terrible idea regardless. School shouldn't be a thing until this is all over, if it's ever over. That last part is the part that I'm talking about, if it's ever over. But it's not, I don't even think it's a matter of if it's ever over. I think it's a matter of I think there's going to be some point where it becomes safer for us to all conjure without this virus being so adamant. But we don't know when that is. Low key, there's a homeboy of mine who's putting on events. I've worked with him in the past in the sense of like creating like experiences and stuff, and he's holding an event in a couple of days, and I appreciate him trying, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know if I should be here, and maybe he's doing his best to like practice social distancing, and everyone has their mask on, and being safe, and that's cool, and I don't know, maybe not. One day I will see what he's about, but until then, well, the irony is that, and plus, it's around people that I don't really know, you know what I mean? So, I mean, if it was around people that I know and trust, like family, for the most part, then it's like, okay, cool. But if it's around random strangers, like, I can't go back to my mixy days. I really can't. I'm actually, I have not been very mixy myself, so it's mixy to the point where I'm like, once again, amongst a gaggle of strangers, not talking about just hanging out and going places. I'm talking about like pure mixy vibes on some, hey, I'm going to go to the Coca Cabana or the Habana Outpost and just hang out outside and get some corn because, it's what the kids are doing. I don't, that's not what I'm about. That's not what I'm fitting to do. But some others might be the case. I think right now we're getting a little bit more lax with going out. At least there's outside seating and all that stuff. So I think people are getting a little bit more comfortable. But guess what? Like Game of Thrones said, winter's fucking coming. And guess what happens with winter? It gets cold. And guess what happens when it gets cold? Nobody wants to be outside. How's that going to work out? How's all that outside seating going to work? I'm hearing a lot of whispers about how the NYC restaurant scene is going to falter. It's going to falter hard. You think a virus is bad? Imagine a whole cold snap. That's not fun either. Not a good time in the USA. So we shall see. It's going to be an interesting couple of months. The writers' rooms are having a field day with the content that they're going to be coming up with. It's going to be plot twist on top of plot twist, and I'm just going to laugh at. I'm just going to laugh all of it off. Like, ha ha, oh boy. It is going to be quite a whopper. No cheese, no bun, no meat. Anyway, so yeah, that's that. Hope all your childrens are doing well out here. I wonder how takeout options are going to work out come fall winter. Good question. I think it's going to be overwhelmed. My personal opinion, I think it's going to be overwhelmed. I think it's going to be a backlog. If you think that takeout is a little shaky now, imagine when it comes winter and no one's able to. People are going to be tired of cooking. People are going to be tired of like doing all these things. Me not like it. Now, I am currently looking at Twitter, and I'm looking at a current story about this woman named Jessica Krug. Already don't like the name, so you already know bullshit and shenanigans are going to ensue. Let's see. According to this post on Twitter, weird story of the day. Jessica Krug, a white woman from Kansas, has been pretending to be black for her entire professional career, and now she's apologizing for it. I am not a culture vulture. I am a culture leech. So, let's review. From what I just read, and I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, but at the same time, this sounds about right. This young lady named Jessica Krug. Oh gosh, and if you see the picture of this chick, the answer is fucking yikes. I'll paint a picture for you without actually showing her face. She looks like there's hoop earrings going on in this image. She's holding up a book called Fugitive Modernites. Very strange. Is this dress from some like African store? I don't know how. Oh, she has a little nose ring there, a little septum. Probably that's what gave it away. I don't know how people could look at this chick and say white. I don't even think she's like light skin passing. It's just standard white woman. Wigger. She's giving me Wigger vibes. Wigger vibes. Anyway, how do you now Rachel Dolezel? It's a very specific example because Rachel Dolezel doesn't even look black. Doesn't look. She could put any type of. She could put any type of hairstyle in the hair. She's not black. Similar to Miss Adele, or Miss Adela, Adele. I don't know what to call her. Miss Adele. It doesn't matter. The point is, Adele, as you probably may have saw or not have saw, recently Adele reached out to her Jamaican roots because obviously she's from the Isle of Jamrock, and she came out with a very not Rastafari, but very Jamaican Adele, yes. She came out with a very Jamaican attire, and you know what? Kid Fury said it best. Don't really mind that she was looking a certain way. It's the hair. The Bantu knots took it a bit far, and I concur. I was not mad at her tits titting. I wasn't mad at the Jamrocks. So I wasn't mad at that. The hair was a little off-putting. The feathers, strange. The setting, not Jamaica. So, all of these things just kind of played a role. And I don't know who the stylist was, but and Kid Fury on his podcast made another good point. Was like, these Jamaicans will do anything. These Jamaicans will take any coin to put any type of hairstyle on your hair. It was giving me very Sims vibes. It was giving me like, hey, $50 for insert hairstyle here. And I don't know why Adele did it. We don't know. Allegedly, people are saying that her current boyfriend influenced the style. Also, a strange one. But doesn't matter. The point is, we have this young lady, Jessica Krug, who decided that she was going to pass as black for her whole fucking career and get away with it. She got away with it on some she almost got away with it on some Scooby-Doo shit. But the fact that she was getting away with it prior, it's like, how the fuck, y'all? How the fuck? These white people put themselves in every position to be like us. But when it's time to be us, poof, can't be found. Oh, here's a fun article. She says that she cancels herself. Ha! Well, look at that. New York Post, take it with a grain of salt. But it says here, she's actually a cultural leech. For the best part of my adult life, every move I made, every relationship I formed has been rooted in the napalm toxic soils of lies. Wowzer. You know what? Let's talk about that. Now, considering that all this news has came out, can you cancel yourself? Is that how it works? Can you do an egregious act and cancel yourself? Can you take that level of narcissistic accountability and say, hey, you know what? Before y'all cancel me, I'm going to do y'all a favor and I'm going to X myself off the board. The answer is no. No, Jessica Krug. No. No. You don't get to do that. You don't get to take yourself off the board. We, culture, we need to drag you accordingly. You need to be dragged, sis. Sister. You need to be dragged, sister. I'm very tired of these we got y'all boss individuals who come on the scene and want to use African American vernacular. I don't like it. not fun, not a vibe. So I'm tired of it, and I feel like at this point, you know, no, she has to go. She has to get dragged accordingly. Um, and yeah, I don't think we should let this young lady get away with this. She doesn't get to cancel herself. She doesn't get to call herself out. We get to call her out and drag her. So do your research if you will, but Jessica Krug is a Rachel Dolezel wannabe, and guess what? Rachel did it worse. So, there's that. Because to this day, Rachel is still on her shit. I'm not giving her any grace. Let's see. What else is happening here? Ooh, there is a post that I wanted to discuss. It's a couple weeks late, but I wanted to bring it up on this platform. So there is a rapper who was discussing recently that he had to let one of his homeboys, he had to step away from one of his homeboys because he found out that his homeboy was not taking care of his fatherly duties. Young Dolph cut off his childhood friend for him being a deadbeat dad. We don't have this conversation enough. But my question to all of you is, was he right for doing so? And if anything, should this be normalized? Right? Because that's the buzzword of the day. Normalized. Should it be normalized that men should cancel their homeboys for not being good dads? My opinion is I don't have any homeboys personally who are bad fathers, right? Now, does the same grace go towards mothers? Do black women cancel their homegirls for being bad moms? Is that a thing? Do y'all do that? Or is this something that is exclusive only for... Because, a black woman's quick to get a black man to fuck out of here for being a bad dad. Rightfully so. And we kind of go back and forth where, black women would be on some, oh, these deadbeat daddies ain't shit. And then black women would be on some, nah, it'd be moms too. Y'all moms be ain't shit either. So that back and forth usually happens. But for me, I feel like it's rare for black men to cancel their friends for not being good dads. I think it's actually very bold. And I commend it. You know what I mean? I commend the fact that he was able to do that because he realized that his homeboy wasn't like shit. He wasn't shit. He wasn't taking care of his fatherly responsibilities. And that's one component, not the only component, that's one component of being a man, right? Especially if you're a father, you have to take care of your children. And I know one of my friends that, has a child and there is a father figure. Father figure is not present, not around, and she's raising this kid by herself, right? And it's just like, well, how does one do that? How does one do that? Hey, how you doing? How does one allow the people in their circles to be that irresponsible? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But I think it's important that he called his friend out on it and decided, yo, bro, I can't fuck with you with that because that's not the type of people I want in my circle. And that is very important. It's very important for us to not only hold responsibility and accountability to just people that do wrong, but who are not handling their business. And I'm not talking just business on some, yo, bro, you should be grinding out here. You ain't grinding, nah, fuck you. I'm talking about like, yo, bro, you have children and you on some fuck shit and you're not taking care of them. I can't fuck with you. And that shouldn't have to come down to you being a parent or not. And that is another conversation that we need to have. Big conversation, but a conversation nonetheless. Just because a certain individual doesn't have kids doesn't mean that they shouldn't... well, actually, that's kind of tough. I was going to initially say that just because you're a person that doesn't have kids doesn't necessarily mean that you can't chime in on the affairs of a parent. I think in certain cases you should be able to. In other cases you can't. For example, right? I have a friend of mine who was talking about how one of her friends was trying to instruct her on how to parent, right? Uh, they were trying to tell her about, what they should do with their daughter. And my friend had to kind of like fall back from the person because it's like, well, who are you, Miss No Children, to be telling me, person with child, how to raise my daughter, right? Now, that is a proper example of probably that person should have stayed in their lane. But there's other examples where, this is my personal opinion, where we all agree how children should be treated, right? Regardless of if we have kids or not. That's just a universal thing, where it's like, hey, if there is a case where you are doing too much when it comes to disciplining your child, you should probably chill. And I don't think that's that's a person with parents business. I think that's a, hey, general, stop being a fucked up person business, right? But I think the people that have children are so caught up with the act or the concept of parenthood, where it's like, nah, you can't tell me how to raise my child. You can't do that. You can't do that. But it's like, but in the sense of like human decency, why would you put your child through this? You know what I mean? And I would hope that my friends trust me enough to where I would give a level of advice to how they should treat their child, not because I'm trying to parent or out-parent them, but it's like, hey, you trust me, and you clearly trust me around your kid. So I feel like in this regard, where I'm not necessarily giving you critique on how to be a parent, but I'm suggesting like, hey, I think your child will benefit from this. That's how it should be handled. And I just don't think that's the case in certain cases. Parents get very defensive, rightfully so, right? They get very defensive on how they're critiqued as parents, and I feel that certain people do it to be malicious or just to be also, I'm mad critical. I gotta tell you how to raise your kid, and then others do it in the sense of like, for the sake of my love that I have for you and your child or children, I'm just giving you this piece of advice. I'm suggesting this thing because I care about y'all. And unfortunately, those things are not synonymous, right? So, yeah, I just feel as if, it comes to a point where, when it comes to children, as I said, I think we all understand how children should be raised, but certain things you have to stay in your lane in, especially if you don't have kids. I just feel like there's certain cases where, you should be able to give the advice to a parent without overstepping. And that's a very important distinction, right? So, as I said, I think that's pretty important. So, in that case, we just need to be kind and be mindful. I'm going to wrap up on this point before I head out. I want to keep this short, I want to keep this sweet. So, in my last mini episode, which you guys should get to listen to on the pod, I talk about legacy. I talk about the importance of leaving a legacy behind. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean leaving a legacy for the world, because once again, I emphasize that it doesn't have to be a huge global thing. It could be a very small circle of yours to leave a legacy for, right? And leaving a legacy, it doesn't have to be a huge feat. It could be leaving a legacy of doing good, or establishing some level of communication between you and other people. Starting something that brings people together. These are legacies, small manageable legacies that we could leave, so where when we do pass on, we're not just being described as, oh, that person was nice, or oh, that person was really sweet, or oh, I remember that person always said hello. We have something that's tangible that people could actually see, not necessarily touch, but see and kind of, describe us as more than just. So I leave all of you with that sentiment, where it's like, think about your legacy and think about what people will remember you by. And take a step outside of yourself and think, heaven forbid I pass away tomorrow. How are people going to remember me? And if all you can think of are adjectives, then you should probably rethink the way that you kind of walk in this world. You know what I mean? I think it's important. I think for me, I'm kind of getting to a point where I want to think about legacy and that level of future. Because look at the world around us, kind of on fire. I want to walk out of the fire without getting burnt. And if I do get a little bit of scorch on me, I would at least want to have something that's left behind that is, that survives the fire. If you guys get that analogy. All right. Anyway, I do have to dip out. Once again, if you have not copped your tickets to the live show this Saturday, please do. Saturday, September 5th, 3 p.m. Be there. Be another shape. Doesn't matter which one you want to choose, but just be there. It's a free ticket. And for those who are coming, thank you so much. And for those of you who can't make it, that's fine. But I will see you all on Saturday. Thank you so much for watching. And I will check y'all next time on this IG Live. All right? Of course. I'm glad that I could remind you. It's going to be a long weekend, but at least y'all can spend at least an hour and some change with your boy, and we can have a good time. Anyway, all right. I will check you all next time. Have a great day and weekend coming ahead. And yeah, we'll talk again later. All right. Peace, y'all.